Tamarack Valley Energy is a light oil junior producer. We started in 2009 as a private, did a reverse takeover of Tango Energy in 2010 and became listed on the Venture Exchange. We operate in areas of Alberta and Saskatchewan, and again focused on resource plays in the light oil sector, and we've been doing acquisitions as well as organic growth. Early on in a company's life, you need to determine strategically where you're going to be. We quickly focused in on the high rate of return areas in the Cardium play. Cardium can be a very good play, and it can be a mediocre play depending on where you're at. Fortunately, our guys selected an area in the Wilson Creek where the rates of return are very good, and in fact, the rates of return will work at today's prices. So despite the low oil price, we are currently have a drilling program underway. Commodity price downturns are a very difficult time for CEOs. They need to figure out if the downturn is going to be long or is going to be short. And if it's going to be a prolonged downturn, the correct thing to do is quickly pull back capital. Avoid putting capital together that has high service costs, and you're putting on production at a time of low prices. And that's what we saw in the first half. And in the first half, we made the correct decision to completely pull back our drilling program. And we didn't deploy capital until the second half when service costs were low. And we also had a time to reduce our operating costs in the field. And operating costs, the guys did a great job reducing operating costs. We're down 40% in the Wilson Creek field. And that makes the rate of return on your wells a whole lot better. It makes them work really at $45 to $50 WTI, where they wouldn't have worked before. Most of the growth in the near term will come from the Wilson Creek area, as I mentioned in the last question. The Wilson Creek again gets the rates of return that give you paybacks into a year and a half. And if you're going to be successful in a resource play, you have to get your money back within that time period. That means your rate of return on the wells are going to be about 85% plus. And we still have that 85% plus rate of return even at $50 Edmonton, $45 WTI. So I think it's you just need to go back a little, not that long ago, $40, $45 was a good oil price. So and it'll work provided your cost structure is in place and provided you have the right dirt to drill, and we believe we do. I think what investors are looking for right now is they're looking for companies where they can invest in, and they know that the company is going to work at current prices. So when we say self-sustainability, what we're saying is that at these prices, a company is able to grow production, pay down debt, keep the balance sheet in order, without the need for additional equity to come in, and without the need for financial instruments like hedges. Fortunately for our company, we think that in 2016, keeping oil prices flat, we could still have free cash flow, and in a few $1 million for the company, and free cash flow, meaning you can replace production and still have money left over by spending cash flow is what we mean by that. So it's very important for a company to get itself in that position, and I think we're unique in that manner. Well, I think the listing on the TMX is really important for this company because for the staff it's a milestone, and to think that we started with $2.5 million friends and family money and grew to this point. I think it's a real motivator for the staff. For the company, I think there's a certain level of scrutiny you go through to become TSX listed, and I think because of that, investors are more inclined to invest in your company. So it's going to open doors to investors we never saw before. Gives you your company a lot of recognition. Has certain expectations of standards to live up to, which we're very pleased to. And I think in terms of liquidity, it gives us a lot of liquidity. I think the last point I'd make on that listing is that coming out of a downturn with And you know, with us listed on the big board, and moving forward, it gives us credibility to ride that commodity cycle upwards. And there's been a lot of successful companies have come out of downturns in the past that I think and were well positioned like they were.